Hello and welcome to the 55th episode of The Real List, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
And today we have the selection. A selection from me, but the thing that started the movie list when we met each other like 3 years ago.
This damn movie.
Because I made a joke. I made one of the jokes in the movie, which is... when the...
Captain.
Yeah, someone on the Orlando just dropped 45 cents, because I dropped a bunch of change in front of Gloria. I don't know why that's where my brain went, but there you go. And so I went, I need to show you down Periscope, and then we
started...
we went back and forth.
This is where the list came from.
150 movies later, and we've come back to redo the first one.
The pinnacle.
We did watch this once already. We watched this like maybe a week after you told me about it, and we never... It was not a week after. It was a while. I was sitting on this one for a while. But it was actually, you know what? I have the original date right here. Hold on. Because we marked it off. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, I deleted it and then I put it back. Okay, never mind. I dotted the original date. But it was sometime before we started the show. Anywho, yeah, this is down Periscope. This is a movie directed by David S. Ward with a screenplay by Hugh Wilson, Elliot Wald, and Andrew Kurtzman. With the story by Hugh Wilson. You know what actually struck me about this movie, because I'll get to the cast in a second, is it's one of the things that I don't know why it sticks out to me, but it sticks out at me because it's not, like, adapted from anything. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, it is a parody-ish of a 1950s film called Up Periscope, and also a lot of other sub-films like The Hunt for Red October, which we should totally watch. Actually, I think I just got the VHS of it from the free bookshelf at the PN. I think I now own a VHS of Hunt for Red October.
I think you do,
We should totally watch that. Anyway, one of the most famous sub-movies. It's got Sean Connery in it. It's a good film, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Yeah, this is it's not based on like a book or anything. It's not a remake of anything. I like the fact that it is basically just an original movie, and it's just like Kelsey Grammer gets to play with a submarine. There's a couple of shots of them puttering around in the sub, and Kelsey Grammer's on top, and he's just like beaming. He's cheesing, and I don't blame him. It's starring him and Lauren Holly, Rob Schneider, Harry Dean Stanton, Bruce Dern, William H. Macy. This is the first list of cast in a while that we haven't, like, massively fumbled any names. And here is the king of all names, Mr. Rip Torn.
Gotta love Mr. Rip Torn.
Awesome. Awesome name, awesome voice. We've definitely had him as the voice in something. I can't remember what, though. And I was just like, oh my god, I've heard that voice before.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I just can't put my name on it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can get his... We're gonna go through his whole friggin' thing. Apparently he had a career on Broadway. Yeah, let me just go through here. I mean, nothing's sticking out to me, but man, he's been in a lot of stuff, and he deserves to be in all this stuff.
He was in Airplane?
He was in Airplane 2.
Oh,
the sequel.
Let's see. Keep going.
I expect it's going to be something. He was in RoboCop 3. He was in Men in Black.
Yep, he was. Zed. He was in Men in Black.
He was in Men in
Freddy
Black 2.
got finger.
He was in Dodgeball.
He was in Zoom too. He was in the B movie
as Lou Duca. I don't even know. And then, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing that's sticking out to me here. Although apparently he was in a bunch of TV stuff too. And anyway,
Will and Grace, Trip Tank, 30 Rock, Law and Order.
Dun. But yeah, so this is, again, the movie that kicked off the whole movie list, and in a sense, the show. Kelsey Grammer is a renegade captain, and he gets saddled with a 1950s submarine.
Submarine.
Yeah, 1950s diesel sub, and, like, a misfit crew, and it's like, okay, you're gonna do a war game against, like, modern nuclear subs and everything, and also an admiral that has a huge grudge against him. Who do you think are the best characters in this movie? Because the cast of characters is awesome.
Okay, so okay, hold on. I gotta look at the list because I can't.
Yeah, go down to the list. You'll know them by
Okay.
their actors and actresses, right?
Um. So Rob Schneider has to be. Marty Pascal has to be at least one of my favorite characters because he just got dunked on the entire freaking movie
Oh
because
yeah,
he was trying to act like he was the commander and he wasn't.
prepare for die.
Prepare for that.
He's yeah, no, he is one of these characters that just like you love to hate him.
Yeah.
He's in there just to be a thorn in everyone's side, and the acting is not the high point of this movie, but he acts his heart out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do want to say about the acting in this movie that I don't. It's not stellar, but I don't think the movie would be any better with better acting.
No, I feel like this movie is just like a go with the flow kind of comedy movie. Like, it's like there's no need for improvisation because you have a cast that gets along so well and they follow the script and they can just make it a good movie.
Yeah, some of the jokes are a little like the timing doesn't totally work on them, and it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. But it has like an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is so cruelly underrated. Everyone I've shown this movie has loved it. Everyone I've recommended it to or mentioned it to. Even, I remember, I think it might have been Weibold that watched this movie for the first time and came back to me and was like, I did not expect to be so attached to those characters and like this movie that much. And I guess exceeding low expectations isn't an amazing thing that a movie does, but the fact that you can go into this, and as long as you don't expect like the greatest submarine movie of all time,
Mm-hmm.
You will still be entertained because like you picked out Rob Schneider as Pascal, but there are so many characters that are
There's
just
so
lovable.
many characters in this movie, like Nitro,
Yep.
Sonar, what was his
Even
name?
Buckman.
Even Buckman.
Buckman's so funny.
Um,
It sounded like an explosion.
what was I gonna say?
The two commanding the two admirals are fun and they play off each other, and of course Rip Torn kills it.
Oh yeah, Rip Torn always kills every role that he plays.
Think like a pirate. I want a man with a tattoo on his dick. And of course Kelsey Grammer has to get the girl at the end, even though it would be remarkably forbidden in the
actual
in the actual armed services to get on with your subordinate. However,
this is not that.
Yeah, this is not that, and also, it's the Navy. They're all doing it anyway, right? So first woman in the service has got to just get involved. You've got to become a part of that action. It's not gay when it's underway.
All right, I'm leaving. Bye. Bye.
Or when you're underway. And but he has this apparently infamous welcome aboard tattoo on his penis, which
he got when he got blackout drunk.
Yeah. Which is
like
something
me.
that you forgot about. You forgot was in the movie.
Yes, I did. Yes, because when we first watched this movie, it was like, oh, we don't have to really worry about remembering what we're gonna say because we don't have a podcast to make.
Yeah.
So I completely forgot like every bit of this movie except for like the bits that I wanted to remember.
Mm-hmm.
The penis tattoo was one of the things that I did not want to remember.
What were the parts that you wanted to remember?
Rob Schneider getting the shit dunked on him through this entire movie. Like, I love Rob Schneider as an actor. He's just so hilarious. But, like, him just getting, like, dunked on is just funny.
They made him walk the plank? That sequence is just grade A. I mean, there are a bunch of them.
We don't know why you're here. What do you mean? The tattoo on your weenie. The thing. What thing?
The weenie tattoo.
The weenie tattoo.
That is actually a really good turnaround because you'd think... I went into that scene, and when they start that conversation, he's like, request permission for a transfer. I thought, how are they gonna write... How did the writers get themselves out of this? Like, obviously he is not endearing to Kelsey Grammer's character by
Mm-mm.
any stretch of the imagination. He's not endearing to anybody, of course. Why? How did the writers get from obviously get him off the boat at any, the characters want him off the boat, including Kelsey Grammer wants him off the boat, to no, Kelsey Grammer is going to make him stay on the boat. Uh, and I think that turned around reasonably well.
I feel like the character that Kelsey Grammer played really was just this captain, well, this lieutenant commander who was really severely like doubted by his peers
Mm-hmm.
and was really thought less of, and he was like, no, I'm going to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, and
And I feel like by the writers making Pascal, Rob Schneider's character, stay on the boat shows that Kelsey Grammer's character has more power to prove everybody wrong.
that's a reasonable assessment. He's sort of exerting the fact that, like, no, I'm in charge here, and you people are going to do what I say, which isn't something that he really seems to have a problem with throughout the film.
It's also kind of like the scene with Lake when they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to hide from the Orlando, and
In the screws between
yeah,
the
and
propellers.
she was like, I can't do this, I can't do this, and
Yeah.
he was like, trying to do it. He knew what he was doing,
Yeah.
but he wanted her to see her potential.
Yes.
And that's what, you could, that's another reason why Kelsey Grammer makes that character, because it's like, you gotta believe in yourself.
It is a well executed, even if cliche, crisis of confidence that Lake has throughout this film. And honestly, I think her arc is reasonably good. I know that this is a 1996 Hollywood movie and Kelsey Grammer has to get the girl, which is why I was surprised, even though this is like my fifth time seeing this, surprised that she kisses him after that whole ordeal. I was just like, oh yeah, why did I do that? But I don't think it necessarily brings the movie down a peg if you don't take it too seriously. Which, despite the fact that, again, these characters are here to be loved and the plot is fairly interesting for what it is, it's one of those where they clearly seem to have done their homework with how submarines work. You don't need to come in here and take it seriously. It is a comedy, and you need to be ready for cliche stuff and dumb jokes, like Buckman farting and gassing out the whole submarine while they're trying to hide from the Orlando. Or, again, Buckman, one of my favorite jokes in the movie is when Pascal is going through the galley. Yeah, this can has been on the Stingray since Korea. It still tastes like cream corn. It's deviled ham!
And then he sprays the floor
Yeah,
and the ladder with the non-stick spray, and he's trying to go up the ladder, and he tries to go to the ladder, and he slips and falls, and then
Yep.
tries to climb the ladder, and he just freaking is...
He knocks his head on every rung, and then he's still on the floor like 10 minutes later, because this whole scene gets distracted because they get chased down by the Orlando at that point. He gets, like, run over by the entire crew while he's laying on the floor. And another person with a good arc, the look on Stepanik's face when he gets to step on Pascal to get into the bridge. Did you remember that he was
the son
of Rip Torn?
I don't think I actually do remember that it was mentioned.
Yeah, it's not mentioned who his father is. It's mentioned that his father is an admiral earlier in the film.
I remember that he was the child to somebody. I just didn't remember who he was the child to.
Yeah, he's a riot also.
Yes, yes he is. He's very funny.
Very funny and very cool, and one of the best character moments for him, and probably one of the best character moments in this film, is after they evade the Orlando by sitting on the bottom and doing
being
quiet
silent.
until they do the whale calls, which that's also a funny bit. Is Dodge going to him and saying, Kelsey Grammer's character going to him and saying, you could have screwed up everything for us if you really wanted to be a nuisance. Just one sound, it would have been all over for us. and he says that would have been unethical. I'm out to screw myself, not everyone else.
Not everybody else.
You know?
And that was when he said that, I was like, that's a lot of like character growth right there. Like that's something you want to actually see in a film. Like you want to see that actual character progression. Like the character goes from being this type person, and they grow and they change, and you love to see actual development like that.
It is, yeah, he does have this arc where he goes from being there, like, against his will fully, to being there reluctantly. You know, being there for the people and situations around him, even if he doesn't really want to be a submariner in the Navy. So, yeah, Stepanek is a really interesting character in this film, which, again, this is not the kind of film that lends itself to interesting characters, and yet we have so much to say about this group, you know? They have their little arcs. Even the Admiral, well, even, who's the other? No, that's not him. Who's the Admiral who's the bad Admiral? I don't know who's, hold on, let me scroll down. Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern, yeah. Rear Admiral Yancey Graham.
Yancey, huh?
Yancey. Admiral Graham and Ham. It's on the radio.
Oh my god.
He even has his little arc where he gets knocked down, you know?
You can kiss that third star goodbye.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Freaking Nitro with when he's trying to patch people through, he's like licking his fingers and he's attaching them to the wires to make everything work.
Yep.
And then when Kelsey Grammer's character wants him to put Graham over the loudspeaker, he puts the big glove on and he's praying to God that he doesn't die.
Yeah. And nothing happens, which is a funny little subversion.
And he's like, what? He's just confused because he's like, oh my god, I thought I was going to die.
That boy's absorbed a lot of voltage.
He sure has.
Is another joke of his at the beginning of the movie that doesn't land as well as I remember it landing, but it's still, like, worth a chuckle, is when he's talking with Buckman. It's, what's your name? Oh, Nitro. Oh, that's a cool nickname. What's your real name? Nitro. I'm working a nickname, no? You ready to hear it?
Mike.
And it lingers. Like, the camera holds there for a second. Just
and Buckman's like...
Alright.
Or how about the scene where they make Pascal walk the plank and he's got the chicken attached to his shoulder? He was like...
It's a parrot.
It's a parrot. We'll make sure that doesn't fly away. That's dinner. And he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There is so much to love about this movie. There's too much to love about this movie for it to be at 11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I also want to...
That's so bad.
I want to talk about the scene where the first...
What is it now? Go on.
The first time where they do the test, or...
The dive test?
Not the dive test, but...
It still is 11%.
Not the dive test, but it's... where Lake gets really down on herself. Is that the dive test?
Where she gets down on herself.
And she goes into the...
No, that's when they landed on the bottom and make all the noise.
When they land on the bottom and she goes and she wants to be in her private quarters, and then Kelsey's Grammer's character comes in and he's talking to her and he was like, it's okay, it's whatever. You did what you had to do. You did it right.
He has a good, like, inspirational speech to her.
Yeah, he has a good moment with her. And then he opens the door, and there's the rest of his crew.
Yeah, all a crowd
just creeping by the door. And I'm like, there's a little window on the door. Don't you think you would be able to see what's going on in there?
Can you... Yeah, but imagine how cruddy that window is. Polishing the old torpedo, sir? Actually... My dad's favorite line from this movie is after they shrink Lake's clothes, and Kelsey Grammer says, "You're almost out of uniform." Every time I mention this movie to him, that's the first words out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, everybody was like dunking on Lake too. Like when she not really, but like when she first came, they went and they raided the laundry. They found her undergarments, and then they shrunk her clothes.
I know it is razzing that you would expect, and that's the thing. It sort of feels... I mean, natural isn't the right word, but it feels like something that might happen with this crew in this situation where they're handed the first female sub-officer.
Oh yeah, and Kelsey Grammer's character first thought she was a stripper.
Yeah, that's also... That's a little bit more clumsily handled, but them pulling the prank on her is definitely, I feel like, something that would happen. In fact, this has sometimes been held up as the most realistic sub-movie for peacetime.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of... the vast majority of submarine movies are about a nation in wartime. Obviously, that's when you use submarines. I guess kind of the exception is Hunt for Red October, because the Cold War was going on, but we weren't, at war with Russia, or the USSR. But, yeah, this is upheld as, like, a gold standard of the shenanigans that people get up to when they're stuck in tin cans for, days and weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Das Boot is held up as the gold standard of a realistic sub-movie in wartime.
I think that when they threw Pascal off the ship and they showed Lauren Holly's character, Emily Lake, coming up to the front, they go to throw him off, and she thought that they were actually going to throw him in the water, and then they had the fishing boat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like a nice touch, because you think after they throw him over, you think he's actually going to end up in the water.
Yep.
And I was like, nope. There's the fishing boat.
Although it is a little bit of a plot hole in that scene. I don't know if I'm using the term plot hole right. It gets overused these days, but she'd be able to see the fishing boat from where she was standing. Like, there's no way that she wasn't able to see that he was going into a boat. I think for the sake of the film, you just have to, either don't take it too seriously, which is fine, or just assume that she didn't think they were actually going to push him over the edge.
Yeah, probably thought they were going to make him cry or something like that, and be like, "Are you going to be a good lieutenant now?"
Yeah, and they just had the boat there in case he fell or something. But yeah, and honestly, again, such a good moment of the film. Everyone gets dressed up as pirates. Nitro never gets back in his normal uniform until the very end.
He just stays a pirate until the end of the movie. He just stayed a pirate, and I kind of appreciate that, because it was like, also, I noticed that they were like changing out characters, because like I noticed that there were some characters that I never noticed before.
When they're firing the torpedo, the entire crew in the torpedo room is people that we've never met before.
Yes.
And that's kind of okay, like, where do these people come from? But if you go to the end scene, where they're all lined up in their dress uniforms, there's a lot more people there than we got to know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the crew... Hold on. Let me look up the crew complement on a Baleo-class sub, which they're still being used to the present day, which is really funny. Yeah, there's one active. Let's see. I want to see complement. 10 officers, 70 to 71 enlisted men.
Jesus Christ, how are you fitting that many people on a freaking tube?
You've been in one.
I don't think I could handle being in a submarine.
Mm-hmm.
I would kill somebody. I would kill somebody, and I would probably kill myself.
Actually, and this is Baleo class. Let's see, where's the production notes? Because what do they actually use? USS Pompanito, which is a Baleo class. I was curious. I mean, obviously they got to drive it around, but I don't think they took it under, because it's a museum ship.
Mm-hmm.
When they were doing stuff for the movie, I kind of wanted to do more. Yeah, I wanted to do more research on this, but yeah, okay. So they couldn't run the Stingray because it's a museum ship, so it was being towed around in all the modern footage, which is not unusual for a modern film. And the U.S. Navy and the U.S. military in general, it generally has a policy of, like, we will do whatever you want in a film,
mm-hmm.
as long as we're the good guys, basically. They'll bend over backwards. Like, that's how do you think Battleship got produced? Also another one where they're towing around the ship in Battleship. It's not under its own power, but, they got it moving. But I don't think they were filming on it when it was moving. They just got film of it being moved for, like, a maintenance purpose. But we'll probably do Battleship at some point. It's probably on the list, I think. But yeah.
I've seen Battleship.
You have? That's true. I want to watch it again personally, but that's probably why it's not on the list then. Um, what?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were about to lead into something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. We were talking in the beginning of the movie, and I was like, imagine it just fucking when you're diving, when they were doing the dive test. I was just doing my commentary, my usual shtick. I was like, what happens if you just go in there and just bends in half.
If it just crushes,
instantly.
everyone dies. That's what happens.
Yeah, no underwater tube for me. Just if that thing bursts at any point in time, just death. There's no coming back from that.
I mentioned to you when you asked about it that being in the subservice in any major war had an incredibly high rate of fatalities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but like, if you were in the U-boat corps for Germany in World War II, there's like a 90-something% chance you were dead. They lost the vast majority of their submariners. I just made that number up, but I know it's a lot.
That's crazy.
Being in a submarine, it's like being in a spaceship. If you're in a spaceship, if you're in the International Space Station, it splits open, you're
dead.
You're just dead. Like there's no surviving that. And there have been some disasters where people have survived the initial disaster and then like been in a tiny room on the ocean floor until they've run out of oxygen. It's incredibly like terrifying and scary. I can think of fewer worse ways to go.
Yeah, I'd rather just go in my sleep.
Yeah, but thankfully no one dies in this film.
Yeah, no, thankfully nobody dies in this film. That's a good thing.
Not even Lieutenant Dodge's career.
So wait a minute, about the ship. Is the ship fake in the end of the movie where they blow it up with the torpedoes?
Okay, so there's a thing in the production notes about it here. The target ship that has torpedoes and sunk is both naval stock footage of the USS Fletcher and a prop shooting miniature. So it's a combination of stock footage of them sinking a dummy ship, which was the USS Fletcher, once again, which was a World War II destroyer. Again, it actually mentions here one of the most decorated ships in U.S. history. And it's also, I guess, overlaid with or intercut with miniature scale footage of them blowing up a toy.
It also says that the village people are seen filming in the Navy.
Yeah, which is a great ending to the movie. Great, no post-credit scene or anything like that. There's no down Periscope 2, but there is, you get the music video for
this
in
movie.
The Navy. Which, I will expose the reality here. I keep saying we're going to do, speaking of music videos, I keep saying we're going to do Mystery Men. We don't have a way to watch Mystery Men. We also don't have a way to watch The Dead Don't Die. And I didn't look up Monuments Men because I didn't want to see it. And so this was just like a desperation film because we didn't know what we wanted to watch. And I was like, I want something relatively non-serious because we have so many serious films left on the list.
Yeah, see, there he goes.
And Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
He's a really well-known actor.
Mm-hmm. He's the kid from Little Rascals, like I told you last night.
And he was just like hanging out in the background.
He was just in the background. I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember that face. Literally, I was like, wait a minute, I know that face, but I don't remember seeing him the first time.
Funnily enough, I didn't recognize him, but I know him from King of Queens, which is not a show that I watched, but a show that people around me watched. And so I saw it and heard about it. Anyway, so we actually already have our star ratings. Does yours change?
No.
At all? No? Still 4 stars.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. I really don't have any complaints. I like the jokes. Some of them landed, some of them didn't. But I mean, it's a movie from 1996.
Yeah.
The year my car was made.
The year I was made.
When did this movie come out?
96.
What, exact date?
Oh, what exact date? March 1st.
Oh.
Nowhere near my birthday, unfortunately. But Anyway, yeah. So I also gave it 4 stars because I do love this movie. It is far, far from a perfect film, but it is so criminally underrated by like everyone that apparently has reviewed it. It's just go in with a non-serious, don't go in with high expectations and go in ready for some jokes. Go in for an okay movie with reasonably good characters and plot and whatever. Again, it's not like an adaptation of anything. It is just what it is. Do you know what you want to watch next?
That's what I'm looking for now.
I don't even know what I want to watch after that. We're gonna have to be in the mood for something more serious because we're running out of funny movies. We're running out of non-serious movies. I wanted to watch Alien, but we don't have a way to watch that either.
I told you. Oh no, we don't. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Otherwise, we might have watched it.
We can watch James and the Giant Peach.
Okay.
That's on Disney Plus, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
One of the
James
ones
and the Giant Peach.
One of the ones that came to mind for me was Castaway, and I was just like,
well said!
I have not seen Castaway.
What?
Yeah, it's on this list. I put it on the list, but I'm the one that hasn't seen it.
For someone who likes Tom Hanks, you've never seen Castaway?
I like Tom Hanks, but I don't go out of my way to see his movies. But also, there are just, this exists because there are so many movies that I have not seen that I want to see. And that you have seen,
Oh, actually, no. I think we're going to finally watch The Help, not James and the Giant Peach.
Alright. I'll brace myself for that. Anyway.
Eat my shit.
Anyway. So, yeah, if you have seen Down Periscope... Well, if you haven't seen Down Periscope, I don't really think I've spoiled very much. Go watch it.
Go watch it. It's free on YouTube.
It is free on YouTube with ads. That's the other reason we watched it.
Also, we watched it, and the movie is an hour and 30 minutes long, and there was no ads the entire movie.
It didn't play any ads, which I don't know why it didn't play any ads. Maybe because I was casting from one device to another. I don't know.
I don't know, because when we watched The Dark Crystal, we got halfway through, and there was no ads. And then we watched it again, and there was a whole bunch of ads.
Yeah, I don't know. It's YouTube is an enigma sometimes, but yeah, absolutely go check out this movie if you have not seen it already.
It is a good movie. It's funny,
Leave a comment on your opinions on this movie. Again, it is a good submarine film, which today I learned that is a subgenre. It has its own Wikipedia page.
Submarine films.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, does Atlantis: The Lost City count as a submarine film?
I don't think so.
Well, the answer is no, but comment, and subscribe, and whatever. We'll have more of these. We try to make them on a schedule, 1 a week-ish. Also, if you want some submarine horror, there is a Well, There's Your Problem episode on the Kursk incident. So also check that out. Or don't, if the idea of being on a submarine terrifies you. Although it's not like being on a plane where you might feasibly have to do it someday if you don't volunteer. Maybe in the future when we all live in rapture. Anyway, bye.
Bye.